Hello, everyone, and welcome to 20 Pictures, a slideshow show. Once again, I'm Chris O'Mealy, and that, right there below me, is Dan Peck.
Hello.
Yes.
Is it like a...
So, we're on camera now, as you guys can tell. We did this with our last episode. Seemed to work out pretty well, so we're gonna try it again. See how this goes. This time, Dan will be providing me with the pictures.
Oh, wait, that was what we're supposed to do?
Crap! All right, abort. Nah, we're good. We're good. Dan's got pictures for me. And I've got reactions to those pictures.
Reactions to those pictures?
So I'm just gonna settle back right here and just be like, all right, show me some pictures. Because
draw me like one of your French girls.
Because the camera's over there. But the pictures
and
are
the
here.
beach is that way.
Yes, but the pictures are over there.
So, if you've been listening to The Nerd Table, our podcast that comes out now on
Sundays, yep.
You'll have learned that Chris is not a comic guy, but
nope,
he knows his MCU. He's seen it all. He's done the thing,
I guess.
So here is Time Magazine picking the top 20 villains in the MCU.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, we can do this. Show me the villains. Okay. Yes. Zoom. I'm looking at a much smaller screen than people realize here to make this work out really well.
I mean, I can zoom it way more.
So, I'm pretty bad with Marvel villain names.
All right, I can tell you. This is Proxima Midnight.
Proxima Midnight, thank you. Yeah, I don't always remember names for some of these characters, but she's one of the main lieutenants for Thanos' army.
Yes.
And she has a much better all-female team-up scene in Infinity War than Endgame had.
Well,
because
there's only 3 of them.
Because, yes, it made sense. But yeah, she's a pretty cool character. I don't think we get... Because she dies in Infinity War.
Yes.
But of course, she's back in Endgame because that's a different version of Thanos' army.
2014 Thanos army.
Right, because current
That's Guardians of the Galaxy 1 Thanos army.
Yes, that army. But yes, because even, what's his name, the telepathic dude, is back, and we had already seen him die. A satisfactory death at that.
So there's apparently a cut thing in this about why she's more deadly in the end fight, and it's because she's married to Corvus Glaive and he got killed earlier.
Oh,
in the movie.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then.
But that fact is left out of the final cut of the movie. Because again, that movie is like 2.5 hours long. Well,
yeah, but hey, if we can get a Snyder cut of Justice League, then I say we can get that.
Whose cut is it? Would it be for?
I don't know.
The Russo brothers.
There has to be more. Just do what they did with Deathly Hallows, because you can actually watch Deathly Hallows on Plex as one movie. So you should just do that. Just put it all together with all the uncut stuff and just make like a 6-hour movie. I'd watch it. Just saying.
All right. Our next one. Move along. Oh, I have to unzoom it. Oh, that stinks.
That's fine. And then you're going to have to rezoom. That is a very deadly looking character right there.
That is Dormammu. There's Stephen Strange in the foreground a little bit.
Little bit, yeah.
You can see down there. Of course, you can't see my cursor, can you?
I only saw Doctor Strange the once, and I thought it was okay, but I wasn't.
It came to bargain.
I wasn't as into it as a lot of people were, and I don't know if that was necessarily my my cup of tea. What Doctor Strange was supposed to be. I like the character, and I like what became of him and what he does in the future, but I didn't care that much for his standalone movie. But and I didn't really think too much of this villain, to be honest with you. Are you putting the low rep villains at the beginning?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Going from 20 to 1.
Okay.
But of course, they have to be labeled 1 to 20 though.
Well,
so
they
go in order for the slideshow purposes.
Of course.
Exactly. Of course, the next one is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which will have Scarlet Witch and Sam Raimi as the director. So there we go. Next up, we got Obadiah Steen.
Obadiah Steen, yes. So the first time I saw this movie, I heard the voice and I said, "Is that Jeff Bridges?" Because I didn't actually know it was him right away, because he doesn't really look like him with the look and everything. But yeah, he was a pretty good first villain, I think, for the MCU, because this is the first movie that launched it. This was 2008 or 2007, around that time. I think 8, right? 8, yeah. Because I always remember that Hulk came out in 8, and I'm just like, oh wait, those actually did come out the same year. They just weren't as tied in.
Because they were made by 2 different companies.
Yeah.
Paramount made Hulk.
It's like part of the MCU, but it's also not part of the MCU. So, but yeah, and they have a really good fight scene too. He kind of does a little bit of his own war machine going on. What's his what's the actual
Ironmonger.
Ironmonger, that's it, yeah. But it's the team up between the original War Machine, which is not Don Cheadle.
No, Terrence Howard.
And that was actually
who then wanted equal billing and equal pay as Robert Downey Jr. And they were like, "Bitch, please." No. It might be hard out there for a pimp. But
I don't think he was as good as Don Cheadle. I think that was good recasting. Kind of like how I'm all for the recasting of Bruce Banner, because I liked Edward Norton, but Mark Ruffalo killed it.
Yeah, and then he's hard to work with. Is that?
Yeah, I've heard that.
So,
but that's the other thing too. Is like you go back and you rewatch The Incredible Hulk, and it's kind of hard for me to appreciate it and get into it as much, because it's not the same guy. It's still a good movie.
It's like every time it comes up when I'm and I'm like, oh, time for Incredible Hulk. And it was, wait, this is actually pretty good, actually. It's a good ride.
When we did the Stupid Sexy podcast where we review every Simpsons ever on CKCC Radio, we talked about that.
Now on Fridays and Mondays. On CKCC Radio.
But that was the thing. We talked about that. The War of the Simpsons. I was like groaning because I didn't want to watch another Homer and Marge marriage trouble episode. And then it's like a really good episode.
So, they did it better than the previous times.
Yeah, so I get it. Yeah.
Obadiah Steen.
But I do like me some Jeff Bridges here. Ah, this son of a bitch. This guy's got a massive ego.
Yes.
I would say.
Look at fucking Kurt Russell, man.
He's literally the whole planet.
He is literally the whole planet.
He's Unity.
But he wants to be the entire universe. And, well, I kind of live in the galaxy.
But this also explains why Peter Quill has powers.
Yep.
He's not just an average
able to hold on to the Infinity Gem.
Yep. Because this guy's he's half planet, half human, half planet.
Half human, half planet.
I loved
ego. Ethan Page.
Yeah. I loved the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I thought 2 was really good as well. That's one of those ones. It's hard to rank them because they're both so good, but they're good for completely different reasons. Like, and I thought that not that Ronan was a bad villain, but Ronan was just kind of like a Thanos flunky. This guy was the real deal. So, yeah, I think Ego made for a hell of a good villain for a hell of a good movie.
It's Kurt Russell, who then after this went on to be Santa Claus.
Yes. I didn't see the first Guardians in the theater. I missed out on that one, but I did see the second one in the theater.
I've seen them both. Oh my god.
There's a couple of MCU movies I didn't get to see in the theater that I missed out on, but then like I watched them and I'm like, man, I needed to see this in the theater.
Yeah, I missed the first handful, and then I watched like 7 in a row, and then I missed another handful.
Yeah.
And then I watched like 7 in a row. Anyway, up next is the Ebony Maw.
Ah, yes. This guy's basically like a friggin' mind bender. He's like a reality bender, practically.
He's I think he's officially telekinetic, which means you can do almost anything, really.
Well, I know he can manipulate and move things with his mind.
Yeah,
and that's big time on display when he first comes to New York and fights Tony, and then again later when he comes back in Endgame and they're doing the run for the gauntlet pretty much. But yeah, obviously he comes back because he's basically the top, one of the top lieutenants.
I think he's the top because he's even is the promo guy for Thanos.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a great moment too when he first confronts Tony Stark on Earth. He's like, "Excuse me,
sorry,
Earth is
closed." Yep.
Yeah, the big moose outside should have told you. Yeah, he's one of the best side villains in the whole MCU.
Super fucking creepy.
Oh yeah. He kind of looks like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt a little bit.
Yeah.
Plus when the whole army gets dusted, he does like the reach, like the Saya as he fades off.
Yeah, I think it's like his top believer, his top guy. Next we have Helmut Zemo. Helmut Zemo from, of course, the Civil War, and starting this Friday.
Yeah,
in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
We record this, yeah. So, I saw Civil War in the theater, and I remember really liking it because it was like more Avengers than the first Avengers movie, but I haven't been that into it in subsequent viewings. I still think that the best Captain America movie is The Winter Soldier.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's my favorite movie of the entire MCU. So.
Yeah, it's so good. But F this guy. I don't have much more to say there.
And that's all I got to say about that. I think we're going to get a lot more in Winter Soldier. He's actually going to put on a suit and stuff, so I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
We get Aisha from Guardians Volume 2.
Yup. Over Ego.
Apparently.
What's the reasoning to put her higher on the list?
I don't know. I only looked through real quick.
Okay. Well,
I mean, she did create Adam Warlock.
Yes, that's true.
It's going to be a thing that comes later, hopefully. Although James Gunn says he will not be in Guardians 3, which to me means
he's 100% in there, yeah. Yeah, I don't have much to say about her.
But they're a perfect race.
I guess.
Specifically bred. And they love their arcade games, which are actually just drones killing people.
Well, ain't that fun?
It is funny when one guy's left, everyone's got an arcade, and it's the one guy is doing awesome in the one game. And then he loses, and they're like, "You suck, dude!" So funny. Got the Vulture from Spiderman Homecoming.
The Vulture. Homecoming was really good. In fact, dare I say, the best Spider-Man movie we've gotten.
Yeah.
Now, full disclosure.
Far From Home, yeah.
full disclosure, as we're recording this, I have never actually seen Into the Spider-Verse, although I have heard it's excellent. But I've still heard that this is the best Spider-Man movie. And what's the name of this actor, Dan?
It's Michael Keaton.
So, Michael Keaton, to me, is one of those guys that when he's the villain, he's a little too good at playing a bad guy. And it makes me kind of wonder about his home life a little bit. Sure, he was Batman and everything, but we also know Batman's got a dark side. But I don't know, he's really, it's kind of like how much I love Christopher Walken, but he's really good at being evil. So it makes me wonder what he's actually like.
Walken is like a creep though.
He is, yeah. Did you ever see the Celebrity Jeopardy they did on SNL when Matthew Perry played Michael Keaton? Because it's friggin' brilliant.
I think so.
And he just kept interrupting and saying, "I'm Batman." Yes, this
guy started out as a comedy actor.
He did.
He was Mr. Mom.
The other cool thing about this character is he kind of deduces, it's kind of like what they did with Norman Osborn in the first Spider-Man movie. He kind of deduces himself, Peter Parker's true identity, and then confronts him about it. Mm-hmm. And it's a really cool scene, but it doesn't have to be super villain schlocky either. To me, he was a more dangerous villain than Norman Osborn. But yeah, Homecoming is fantastic, and if you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. Far From Home was good too.
His story is so easily relatable and easily duplicated, right? His company clears out construction sites and stuff, and they're in charge of cleaning up after the War of New York, and then all of a sudden S.H.I.E.L.D. comes in and says, "Nah, go away." And they get pissed about it, and they're like, "Well, what are we going to do with all the shit we already hauled away?" And he's like, "Fuck it! Let's keep it."
Yeah. I mean...
Because we're all going to be out of business tomorrow anyway.
I mean...
And then that leads him down the road he goes on, right?
I might have done
a wife and a daughter.
Thing. I probably would have done the same thing, not gonna lie.
So, yeah. Adrian Toomes. And he doesn't give away who Peter Parker's Spider-Man to what's-his-face at the end of the movie when he knows.
No, he does not.
Up next is Nebula.
So, a bad guy and then not a bad guy. And then also a bad guy again, while simultaneously not being a bad guy. But yes, this is Thanos' true daughter. However, she's not the favorite. So, her story is basically that she's trying to win her father's approval under any circumstances. While he clearly...
And she always fails, because Gamora's always slightly better than her.
Yes. And Gamora
is why
the adopted
in Endgame, when she freaks the fuck out when she wins favorite football.
Yes.
And he's just like, "Congratulations, you win." And she's like, "What? What?"
Yeah, she has no idea
Let's win again!
how to react to that. But it's also kind of interesting what they do with her for the Endgame storyline, how her past self gets hacked by her past self hacks her true self and then kind of disguises herself, which is what leads to Thanos' invasion of Earth. So Nebula has to be her own hero and actually kills herself. Which is the only way that could have gone down. And what's the name of this actress, Dan?
Karen Gillan.
Better known to Whovians, because I see you got that TARDIS back there, as Amy Pond. Possibly the best companion ever.
One of, yes. I think one of the ones he got the closest with. Because they're literally family.
Literally family, yes. She's a great character, though, all the way.
His mother-in-law. Isn't that crazy?
A little bit.
It's Ultron, yo.
So, here's what I love about Ultron. Ultron got on the internet for 15 seconds and was like, oh, no, humanity needs to go.
Yep.
And if that's not the most relatable thing in the world, I don't know what is.
I also love that now that the main story is complete, people actually appreciate Age of Ultron for what it was. Because a lot of people did not appreciate it at the time.
No, it did not. I remember
it was the bridge. It was the bridge to another act, and everyone was like, "This isn't as good. This was boring. This was dumb." And I was like, "No, it's an important step towards the next part.
This is leading towards what needs to happen." Yes. Plus, he gets an actual Avenger kill.
Yes.
He gets an actual kill, and that leads to some more shenanery on a future television show that just aired. Yes. So, Ultron is uber important whether you liked the movie or not. But I think collectively, if you're talking about the 4 Avengers movies, we can agree this is the least strong.
Sure.
I mean, would you put this above any of the other films with Avengers in the title? Because I sure wouldn't. But yeah.
But it might be more important than any.
It might be. It might be.
Ain't no strings on him, man. Scrolling down.
And the voice was James Spader?
Yep.
Was the voice of Ultron? Yeah.
Great voice. Who you get?
Oh, here we go.
Pierce. Robert Redford as Pierce.
They coaxed him out of retirement to come back for the last Avengers movie. That's actually pretty impressive to get him to come out of retirement to play the character one more time. F this guy. F this guy.
Head guy of Hydra. Head Hydraman.
Yeah, F that.
I remember reading like
Hydraman.
I think he's playing Red Skull. Had come back and he's disguised himself as Robert Redford, and then he's going to reveal himself as Red Skull. And like, well, we didn't do that, but it was pretty close.
Yeah. But yeah, it's he for a character with no actual like powers, this is as good as a human villain you're gonna get.
He almost killed half of the planet.
Almost.
He almost. If you know what, if he succeeded, Thanos might not have had to come to Earth.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Maybe you should have just let him. Well, no, because then Thanos wipes out half the universe and it gets restored anyway. So.
That's Pierce. It's the Red Skull.
The Red Skull himself. Yes. In the first movie, this is played by, what's the actor's name?
Hugo Weaving.
Who has been in almost everything.
Yep. He was Agent Smith in The Matrixes.
Yep.
He was Elrond in
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
And then
he's V for V from Vendetta, and
yep.
he never shows his face.
Never shows his face. And here, he takes his face off. And reveals Red Skull.
Face.
The first villain in MCU canon. Yes. As far as timeline goes. And he's a damn dirty Nazi. He's the head of Hydra. He's got the weapon specialty going on. They invent this new technology that literally just wipes you out when it shoots you. There's literally nothing left. And this is the technology that's gonna help them win the World War for the Fuhrer. But who he wasn't counting on was scrappy old Steve Rogers.
Indeed.
And I love the Captain America movies. The first one, like I said, Winter Soldier is the best, but that first one's so friggin' good too, and he's easily a part of why that is.
And Ross Marquand or whatever is him in Infinity War and Endgame, because he is a really good actor and he is really good at doing impressions.
Yes. The first time I saw that, I didn't even know that was a different person. I was like, oh, they got him back. It's not him. But yeah, now he's got to guard the Soul Stone and lead others to it.
Lead others to what he could not.
What he could not have himself.
Isn't that one?
Yeah, it's a rare.
Is that what happens when you lose your life in pursuit of an Infinity Stone? Is you have to guard it?
I guess so.
Crazy.
That was a shocking thing too when he showed up. I was not expecting that. I'm like, that's freaking Red Skull. That guy died in 1945. Yeah. But nope, there he is.
It's Caecilius.
Yes.
From Doctor Strange, the bad guy you know more about and see more of.
Yes. Although, I don't know, I don't know if I would say he's better or worse, but again, Doctor Strange was okay.
I mean, it definitely does more interesting stuff. Those fight scenes, though, with all the magic and the things floating
the fight scenes are pretty cool, but just wasn't.
And then when the fight scene in the Sanctum Sanctorum,
yeah,
where the cape comes on and he's trying to get Doctor Strange is trying to go to one direction, the cape's trying to get him the other direction, the cape's doing all the fighting, and then it tells him to grab the torture device, and just to see that scene where he throws it on him, and he I think they did it in reverse and they rewound it or something.
My favorite
is him snapping into the thing.
My favorite is Rick and Morty. Lab coat, rip off Doctor Strange. In the heist episode. Yeah, okay villain. I wouldn't have put him this high on the list personally.
It's Mads Mikkelsen though, very good.
Mads Mikkelsen's awesome, yeah. He was a Bond villain.
Yes, he was. One of the best, actually. One of them. Next, Ronan the Accuser. He's shown up twice.
Yeah.
Because he was also in Captain Marvel.
He was.
Where he threatens to just blow up Earth because Carol Danvers is down there, as are some Skrull.
Yep. But he's a good example of kind of just a cookie cutter villain that's nothing really special, but it's what's happening around him that elevates him as a character because of who he's connected to and also who he's fighting against. He doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things, but like you pointed out with Ultron, he's kind of the bridge to get you to Thanos.
Literally.
Yeah, well, him and Ultron are the literal bridges to get you to where we needed to go here. And not the most interesting character, but of course he has to succeed or Thanos is going to end him. Because Thanos is the big boss. The big boss man.
I'm distracting you, you turd blossom.
But his death scene's actually pretty cool, though, with the Infinity Stone. Ronan the Accuser.
How is it possible? You're immortal. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Galaxy, bitch. Goes Jesse.
I think this picture is from Captain Marvel because he's not full Accuser makeup and stuff.
Probably, but again.
And he's played by Lee Pace.
Yep.
Who you might recognize as King of the Elves in the Hobbit trilogy.
A couple of references to Lord of the Rings coming up here.
Yeah. Up next is just Tony Stark, because he's a bad guy in Civil War.
So that's how this list was going. I mean, most people I know were on Team Cap.
I'm Team Cap.
Well, wasn't that the thing? It was like, you're on Team Cap until you find out what Bucky did. And then you're on.
Well, I mean, you're still on Team Cap, though, because then it's just a petulant child still fighting, because he ends up forgiving him for everything, and he's like, yeah, I know it wasn't really you were under the influence, and oh yeah, but he killed your parents too. And he's like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like it gets personal, so it gets personal.
This is a weird list just to have Tony Stark on it.
He realizes he's wrong, and he goes there to help and bury the hatchet.
Yeah.
And then he just immediately goes, nope, fuck you again.
That's the thing about Civil War, right? Is I'm not entirely convinced that there was a true villain on either side, because both of them were kind of correct, and they just had it with the other side.
Was the issue with that versus the comic book is the comic book shows you more of the reason why both sides are somewhat right and somewhat wrong. Where in the movie, it's kind of just like, nah, Tony's a little too reactionary and he becomes wrong very quickly.
Yeah, that's true, but but I still liked it. Still a good movie, but it's probably my least favorite of the 3 Captain America films.
Yeah, that's what you said earlier. So yeah. Also, it got a Spider-Man.
Yeah, it did.
So
probably the best thing it did.
Under ruse.
So what's fun about Homecoming is it starts off with Spider-Man kind of reciting everything he went through with Civil War.
Oh yeah, with his like home blog or his vlog.
Yeah, his vlog, yeah. I really like that.
Okay.
I can't wait for Spider-Man 3.
It's gonna be nuts, dude. And you know what? It's like in December. Yeah, it's this year.
It's coming.
There's 4 movies this year because of everything from last year, and then because of all that, 5 next year.
Yeah. Be a good year. Now we're talking
Thor Ragnarok.
Now, this is the best Thor movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people are gonna disagree with that. She is a fantastic villain.
It's so good. And I was always kind of lukewarm on Cate Blanchett. I just thought she was all right.
I always thought she's phenomenal in everything she was in. I always thought she was a
all right.
show stealer.
I also never found her that attractive either. I was like, yeah, she's all right. Same with her acting.
Yeah, but
then this movie comes out and I go, God damn, she's great. She's hot as hell now.
Well, I've never judged her based on appearance, but yeah, I see what you mean. She's so good in this, and Ragnarok top to bottom is such a great movie. It's got some of the best action. It's funny, and it sets up some very important things. Very, very important things.
Like, literally 2 seconds before Infinity War starts is the end of this movie.
Yeah. Also, it has Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, and it's Jeff Goldblum. He is.
It is Jeff Goldblum. He's Jeff Goldblum in this. Yeah, she's great.
Hey, if it wasn't for me, you'd have no one to rebel against. So
she kind of looks like this. She kind of looks like that reboot of Rita Repulsa from that new Power Rangers movie. Very similar design going on there.
Like Elizabeth Banks.
Yes. Which worked. I still think we need a sequel there, but
I don't think we're gonna get it though, even though they set it up because they introduced Tommy Oliver at the end.
They sure did. That was the best. Was the cameo of him and Kimberly.
Yes.
Amy Jo. Oh
yeah, because Kimberly is the mother of the Pink Ranger in the movie. So cool.
It was a good setup.
Next is
yes,
a Winter Soldier himself from the titular film, The Winter Soldier.
Who the hell's Bucky? Yeah, Winter Soldier. Okay, nothing I'm going to say is going to do this movie justice. If you haven't seen this, you have to go see this. This is the best MCU movie. Period.
Even though everyone knew the plot, everyone knew what you thought what the plot was, is it's the Winter Soldier. He's going to show up. They're going to find out it's Bucky. Wah, wah, wah. Why are we going to see this movie? Everyone knows what's going to happen. You don't know shit about what's happening in this movie, motherfucker.
And you know what else I appreciate about this movie? Every time I watch it, it's still got some laugh out loud funny moments. Like, nothing's working. What is working? The air conditioner is at 100%. Just, yeah. But Bucky is, of course, the history. We know him and Cap fought in the war. We thought he had died on the train.
Best friend.
Turned out he had been recovered with the super soldier serum, just like Cap had. He was their own private little experiment. He's got the arm that Rocket tries to buy. Oh, I'll get that arm.
Oh, that's yeah. Like, how much for the gun? It's not for sale. What about the arm?
He just walks away and goes, "Oh, I'll get that arm." Yeah, Bucky's a great character. And fun fact, he's the first Avenger you see get dusted. He just kind of goes, Cap, and just disappears. That scene was so crazy, because even I was originally like, what the hell is actually going on right now?
And I was like, oh my goodness, they made it so Cap was alone. And then you realize, shit, dude. And then like Rocket is alone.
Yeah.
And like they did half the people, but like they made a couple of characters
it's like
completely alone.
Yeah, it's like who disappeared. Like Wakanda lost their leader. I mean,
and Okoye had to step up and lead them during those 5 years.
In a lot of ways, Tony was almost alone.
Well, yeah, he lost Rhodey and everyone. But no, he still had Pepper.
Well, he still had Rhodey.
Was Rhodey alive? Yes, Rhodey was alive.
Sam got dusted. Rhodey survived, and he lost, but he lost Peter Parker.
Yeah. Which was really, yeah. I mean, he lost everybody, but it was just him and Nebula from the people.
On that planet, yeah, we're the only survivors. And then, I know, Rocket was alone. The core Avengers made it. The original 6 survived the dusting, but everybody else around them who they've collected over the time. That was
pretty much almost all of them,
yeah. And it can all be attributed to that damn Peter Quill. Is he on this list? Because he should be a villain just for screwing up the glove part. All could have been prevented. Damn Quill.
Oh, man.
How far up have we gotten now? We got to be getting close to the top.
I think we're in the top 5. So it's Killmonger from Black Panther.
So, you know, the one MCU movie I still haven't seen is Black Panther.
Well, you should.
I should. And I'm going to, because we're doing a whole rewatch. I'm going to get to it. That's like the thing, right? Is like everything that I watch that I have a sequence of, I'm always missing the one thing. Like, I've seen every Pixar movie except The Good Dinosaur. I've seen every MCU movie except this. Hell, I've even seen everything in the DC universe except for the new Harley Quinn movie.
Oh, yeah? So this one I didn't see in theater, but Infinity War was coming out, and I had to see it before I saw it. So I watched a shitty cam version.
Oh, that sucks.
And of course, like all the really big, like, you know, shots of things that were fake and lit weird and stuff just looked awful on the cam.
They always do, yeah.
Like that whole final fight between him and they're like between the two of them, and they're like inside the mountain where they're mining the stuff, and it's just all this great CGI work and lighting work, and it just looked like a blur to me, the entire final fight.
Now, but to watch this movie, this isn't really, there's no origin stuff in here, right? Because we kind of get all that already with Civil War.
We actually get Killmonger's origins at the beginning of this movie.
All right, well, there you go. But that was just it. I didn't really, I remember when I was going to see Infinity War, because I hadn't seen Black Panther, I was asking people about it, and they're like, people told me what I needed to know, and I realized you don't really have to see it to pick up on what's happening. Although it probably would have helped for a lot of the Wakanda stuff, but overall, you didn't need to.
The overall thing you need to know is at the end, they decide to start opening up to the rest of the world and help the rest of the world.
Right.
With all their advanced technology and stuff from
right, because it was the hidden gem and everything.
Yeah.
in
So
the world.
instead of being, oh, hey, by the way, we've been lying to you for the last 100 years. We are not a destitute small African nation. As a matter of fact, we are a small African nation, but we might be the richest nation in the entire world. And this is why, and we're going to help you.
But it's really cool. It's really cool at the end of Endgame to see Wakanda completely reunited again.
Yes.
Which I liked.
And now, next year, we got to find out what they do and how...
R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
So it's going to be them dealing with their leader.
That's probably what it's going to be. And
what they're going to do and who steps up. We already know Okoye pretty much was in charge of all of Africa for 5 years. So
yep.
Next is, I believe this is number 2 because it's Loki.
It has to be, right? Because Loki might be one of my favorite characters in the entire MCU, period. Like,
of course, this picture is from Ragnarok, where he is not a villain.
No, but even when he's not technically a villain, he's still an ass. He's still a smart ass. Because he's the trickster god, and he's also not... He's the example of the not blood relation getting shat upon, right?
Yeah.
It's the opposite of Nebula. In this case, the blood son is the one getting all the attention, and he's the outcast. Although he has a pretty decent reason to feel that way, especially when you discover what he actually is. But everything he does... He steals every scene he's in. He's funny. He can be menacing. You can never trust him. So even when you think that, like, his everything he's doing is on the up and up and for the greater good, you're still in the back of your head. You're like, oh, it's Loki. I don't know.
You turn on him, I'll kill you.
My favorite is in Thor: The Dark World when he turns into Captain America just to screw with them. He's like, how about a buddy of yours?
Actually, one of my favorite things is it's just a short story Thor tells to Valkyrie and Banner, who is when he's trying to tell him that they can trust him for like the mission. And he's like, well, once he turned himself into a snake, and he knows I love snakes. So when I picked him up, he like turned back into himself and he's like, yeah, it's me. And then he stabbed me. We were like 8.
Sounds about right. Also, what's crazy about Loki is that in this timeline, he's actually dead, but because they went back in time and fucked with the stones, he's actually alive. So,
and we'll see what happens to him this summer on Disney Plus in Loki.
Yeah.
Co-starring Mr. Wow himself.
Wow.
Wow.
I can't wait. He's such a great villain.
Number 1 has to be.
I mean, yeah.
So.
Now, with your knowledge of the comic books, was Thanos always the biggest villain in Marvel, or was that Adam Warlock?
Well, Adam Warlock was not a villain for very long. And he even, like, becomes, like, the absolute of neutrality to keep the gauntlet and everything safe.
Okay.
So that's how the initial... Thanos' motivation is much different in the comic books. He is in love with death. Like the actual physical female representation of death in Marvel Comics. She's kind of hot. It's more of like a Day of the Dead Mexican thing version of her. And he's in love with her. But she is just not that into him. She is into Deadpool. She loves Deadpool. But they can never be together. Anytime he dies, he's only there for a few minutes. And Deadpool's into her. But he only dies for a couple minutes at a time. And then he heals back up to being alive.
Is Deadpool part of the Infinity War storyline in the comics?
I don't think so. I don't even know if that's a reason. But she's not that into Thanos either anyway. But he's like, I know what I'll do. I'll kill as many people as possible and make her happy. Because she is the goddess of death. She is death.
So that's why he dusts half the universe.
So that's why he's getting the gauntlet, so he can kill as many people as possible. And to make Death happy, and then maybe she will unfriend zone him.
But in the movie, he's supposed to be one of those villains with a humanitarian plan, but it's not so much that his plan is bad, it's his execution of his plan is the problem here.
I think I saw a post the other day, was like, why not just use your powers to make more resources?
Right, just double the size of the universe and double the resources, but he doesn't do that. And
that's easier to kill half of everybody.
But that's the other thing. He's cold and calculating, and he's also somewhat of a conqueror, so he's not thinking that way. He's not thinking in a benevolent way. He's thinking in the most dangerous villains are the ones who think that they're doing the most good when they're not. And I think that's what works for him. I have one complaint about Thanos as a villain, though. Just one. In the grand scheme of cinema, I don't even think he's in the top 20, and yet he's on everybody's lists. Yes, he's a big franchise player, don't get me wrong. He's a huge franchise player, and he definitely achieves one hell of a goal. But I think in the grand scheme of cinema, there are better established villains. And I don't think he would be in the top 20. He'd probably be in the top 50, but I don't think he's as high as a lot of people want to give him credit for. I'm not even convinced he's the best villain in all of Marvel. Maybe in the MCU, but
yeah, just wait until we get Doctor Doom when Fantastic Four comes around.
Actually, I've always said that Magneto's probably the best villain.
If X-Men come around sometime soon too. The reason Thanos loses in the end is because it's the 2014 version of him that shows up in the final fight. Yep. And he has not learned the things that the other Thanos had learned.
That's pretty much the only reason, yeah.
Because Tony Stark is still a bit of a prick and selfish. All of the other heroes didn't even exist yet, or barely existed. He was not intel prepared for his final battle.
Because when Wanda confronts him, he's like, I don't even know who you are.
Because she barely existed in the MCU at that point. And she's just some chick on Earth. Yeah. Right? To him.
He doesn't know who she is. He doesn't know who Vision is. He just knows that Vision's got a stone. So he kills Vision to get the stone.
Well, I mean, in Endgame we're talking about in Endgame, it's the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 that shows.
Yeah. So.
And I think that's why he loses, because he didn't learn the things in those 5 years that he learned in those 5 years for Endgame. I mean,
all he knew was to conquer. That's it. He's just like, I'm going to get these stones, and I'm going to...
He was 5 years. He was actually at that point. He was 9 to 10 years behind on. For that final fight.
Yeah. Well, he deserves to lose. So, but yeah. All right, he's number 1. I'm not surprised. If you're going off of someone else's list, I'm not surprised.
This was Time Magazine's website.
Okay. That was pretty fun.
They did every villain, so it starts at like 32 or 33. But
okay,
a show of 20.
You just picked the top 20. Well, I did a list like that for you. I did comic book villains in general, and
that's almost 100, right? Something like that. So
yeah, it was like 100, and I just picked the top 20. So, I mean, obviously, I know that there's other villains that we didn't see. Like, I noticed that Mysterio wasn't on the list.
I don't know if that was out when this list was made.
Okay, well, that's possible, but
I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it was.
That was the only other thing. Was like, I'm like, I know we're getting another Spider-Man movie, and I know it takes place after Endgame, so obviously he has to come back, right? And then, but I'm like, but I don't even know how that's going to happen, which I think was kind of some of the appeal. You know, at the end of the day, the good guys are going to win, but you don't always know how they're going to get there. That's what I always appreciate about some TV shows and movies too, where it's like, God, they're really in a bind. I don't know how they're going to get the hell out of this one. You gotta figure that out. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. So, okay, well, that was fun. Another 20 pictures. If you guys like this new format with us on camera being goofy, I mean, and if it seems kind of awkward, well, we don't usually do a lot of stuff on camera. I'm not really much of an on-camera type of guy, but we'll see if these videos do better with us on camera or without. No idea. But that's 20 pictures, a slideshow show. If you guys want to give us a suggestion on something you want us to react to, let us know. We'll prepare a slideshow. And usually these episodes come out back to back. One with me, one with Dan, sometimes with guests. But that's it. Any last words, Daniel?
And that's the show.
Or should I just snap the fingers and end it?
Oh, shit.
Oh, no! Yeah. It is what it is.
You'd have to have your finger on the end button, or you'll have to edit out the last 10 seconds of the video.
I could probably do that, or I could just snap or my snap don't mean anything. So there's that too. But
I mean, you don't have any bling on your knuckles,
No, I'm not even wearing my wedding ring, so I can't even pull that off. All right, but that's it for this time. So let's wave goodbye.
Bye-bye. I'm going to do the queen wave.
Yeah, queen wave.
So you don't, sprain your wrist waving for an hour straight every time you... I mean, that's why she does that. So it doesn't... Cause she has to do that for several hours every time she does it. So that way she doesn't get hurt.
Indeed. All right, let's queen wave out of here.